Folks presents to you Honest Talk.
Hello folks, we are so glad to announce that today Dr. Sukhmeet K. Kalsi, CEO and founder of Aspen Life Coaching, is going to join us. Dr. Sukhmeet K. Kalsi is a consultant homeopath with clinical experience of last 20 years, 15 years as a counseling psychologist and corporate trainer. Dr. Richard Bundler, certified NLP practitioner and ICF certified ACC life coach, on board with a couple of multinational companies as a life coach, internationally certified master NLP practitioner, Gestalt certified associate transactional analysis practitioner, emotional intelligence and happiness coach, goal setting coach. As a mind crafting coach, her core strength lies in understanding the behavioral dimensions of work and enhancing people's effectiveness, thereby and helping them unleash their potentials and moving towards excellence, thereby crafting minds and crafting destinies. So let's begin our talk with Dr. Sukhmeet K. Kalsi.
So first of all, thank you so much, ma'am, for joining and agreeing to share your thoughts with us. We are extremely very happy to have you for today's talk.
The pleasure is mine, Harsh. It's an honor to be here too.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is the domino effect. So ma'am, I request you to, ma'am, please first explain what is domino effect.
So, Harsh, if you know, the dominoes effect is like a chain reaction, and it's like a cumulative effect when one event sets off a chain of other events, and the time interval in each of the dominoes is very, very little. So one event leads to the others. That is called the domino effect. If you know, we have those small dominoes we used to play as a child, and we used to place all of them on one whack. We would give on the first one, and then it would be like a chain of dominoes falling down, and it would look very beautiful.
All right, so means we can conclude that it is something like that when we put card in according, and when we put one card, then all the card get to the down.
Exactly. So yes, one whack on the first one, and then it sets a chain of falling down dominoes.
All right, ma'am. As we all know that you are a life coach, a well-known life coach. So, ma'am, my question to you is that how one can use domino actions to change his or her life?
So, if you know, all our life systems or the functioning in our life, all our behavior, everything is connected. Nothing happens absolutely singly, right? So it all happens in connection and interrelated. Everything is interrelated. So that if there is a change in one, if you choose to change one behavior, it will lead to a series of changes of other behaviors. So for example, I'll give you an example. Like suppose I decide to start working out or start going to the gym. So automatically I will wake up early, I'll go to the gym. I will eventually during the day, because of my physical activity, I will be much more focused and more productive at work. I'll be able to manage my time more manage myself according to the time available very, very effectively, and thereby at night I'll get an absolutely peaceful and sound sleep. Although I had not planned that, okay, my day will go like this, but one behavior leads to a series of other positive changes. Even it can also be related to a negative habit as well. Like for example, if I ask you now that Harsh, just check your phone if you have any notifications. So if you just take the phone in the hand, you'll probably check one notification, and then you'll be tempted to click on your social media links and then start the liking and the commenting, and then that is a cycle which begins, and then it leads to like you can say criminal waste of another 20 to 30 minutes of your precious time, isn't it? So it's always like this. Everything is connected, everything is related. So the choice of changing one behavior may lead to the change in a series of other behaviors, even though they are not planned. So for you to incorporate this kind of domino effect in your life, you should start with something that you just love. And because this series of behaviors are happening, one tends to create an identity around these behaviors. Like once you start doing things, so if I'm going to the gym and the entire day is very productive, I will start identifying myself as a highly productive person and managing my time very effectively. So I'll start labeling myself as okay, I really don't waste time, and I eventually use my time very, very effectively. So I'll start associating with that identity of mine, right? And then again and again when I repeat, so even if you come to know about this behavior of mine, the next time when you introduce me, oh, she is very efficient at doing so, right? So you will also affirm to that behavior, and then that eventually becomes my identity.
All right, ma'am. As you have already mentioned that the same domino effect can be applicable to negative things also. So, ma'am, my question to you is that how one can stop this domino effect of bad habits?
So first, I'll tell you the positive aspect as to how you can really make changes in your life with this domino effect. So when I work with people, I kind of suggest them to start with something that really motivates you or really excites you. Okay, you have to see yourself, you have to visualize yourself as the person that you want to be. Okay, and so I'll give you certain tips as to how you can start doing them. Breaking certain habits is like, first, whatever excites you, you start doing that. Okay, and how you can pursue that kind of behavior. So there is an amazing book which I had read, that is Atomic Habits by James Clear. It gives wonderful tips wherein it talks about the 2-minute rule. So you do anything, and whatever you decide, you start doing it for 2 minutes, and then move on quickly to the next behavior. So 2 minutes of this, 2 minutes, when you are not doing anything and you want to start doing anything. So what happens is the task itself, when it's a huge task, most of the times thinking about the task only, we kind of postpone it or procrastinate it. So if you want to break that habit of procrastination, okay, so you start doing things for 2 minutes and then keep repeating it, like 2 minutes for this, 2 minutes for the next task, and after 2 minutes stop it, so that you get that small intervals. You're breaking the bigger chunk into smaller chunks, and then the brain recognizes that 2 minutes is done. Now then the 2 minutes, and so the 2 minutes of task, when it is done, it gives a kind of reinforcement to the brain and motivates it to continue the task. So suppose you're going to the gym only for like some 2 minutes or 5 minutes. Eventually what happens is it will give you a signal that I might as well continue for half an hour or 1 hour. I'm already coming here any which way. So automatically the brain will motivate you, till I'm coming, so why not continue? It will help you be consistent with the task. So you start with 2 minutes, continue that momentum, break the bigger chunks into smaller ones. So you start with the easiest thing, the most exciting thing which you like to do, which motivates you, and be consistent with that. Because only once you standardize that behavior, only then be able to optimize it. Okay, and talking about the bad habits, you asked me, right? So bad habits, what I generally do is, when I work with people who are really willing to change their habits, I tell them one phrase which is my derivation. I tell them, change your car if you want to change your habit. And they're like, what? Like why do I need to change the car? And like, CAR is an acronym which I have found. It's called cue, action, and reward. So cue is the trigger. Identify the trigger that leads you to go into the bad habit. Okay. So like, suppose if I'm like addicted to ice cream. So what is the trigger? Every time I pass that ice cream shop, I feel like having ice cream. So the trigger is passing through the ice cream shop. So I have to work at that level, right? And then so on. Then action, getting into that shop, and then suppose So when I'm working with them, they actually go to the level of going into the shop. Suppose now if you want to have it and we are going along to the shop, you may have it, but I will not have it because I'm planning to change my habit, right? So then that action of going there but not having it, then that turns out to be a reward for me. Correct. And then the brain recognizes it and reinforces that kind of behavior. Okay. So if you want extraordinary results in your life, make sure that you place the first domino perfectly and you whack it at the right time in your life. So one right thing, one right action will give rise to a series of right actions in life. Okay, as B.J. Thornton said, every great change, okay, starts like the falling of dominoes, isn't it? And it happens over time. So you need not lose patience. It will definitely happen. Success cannot be got in a day. So it definitely happens over time, and you have to only keep your efforts consistent.
All right, ma'am, you have covered so many things, and also it was really a wonderful answer. I think it will be much fruitful for our viewers too. So, sir, ma'am, I would like to move my next question, which is how one can believe in himself or herself to boost self-confidence.
Okay, so again here I will stress on to the dominoes effect happening in the brain as well. What happens is, one thought, or like suppose if I'm happy, okay, or anything, happy, anger, sadness, any kind of thought or feeling coming into my mind gives rise or fires certain neurons, certain chemicals in the brain, and that leads to that goes and they go and connect with other neurons. So the neurons that fire together wire together. What happens is, next time when it's like if I'm asking you to spread a message to say your family and then your extended family and then so I will only tell the message to you. You will spread it to first your family people will then spread it to their contacts. So that is the networking which happens. Correct. This is exactly what is happening in the brain. One thought gives rise to firing of certain neurochemicals, so certain neurons in the brain. Those neurons go and connect with other neurons, okay, and then so next time again when I'm happy, the same set of neurons are fired. Again the third time when so this becomes a repeated pattern. Okay, so it's like the thought comes, the neurons are fired, they network, the neurons are fired, they wire with other neurons, and then it becomes a pattern. The pattern becomes a habit, the habit becomes a behavior, the behavior becomes an action. So again this becomes like a domino effect, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So what you can do is, why am I saying is because we can definitely change our thinking. We can this is what I talk when I take sessions on reprogramming of the mind. I take a lot of sessions on brain reprogramming, wherein I actually make them realize that you can actually make the changes. You can rewrite your stories. You can change the software of your brain. You can reboot your mind. Okay, so you can make the changes at the thought level itself. Okay, now suppose if I'm very angry, I know that this set of neurons. So at that level only, if I change my thought, if I change my thoughts to some positive, those anger wala neurons will not be fired. The other neurons will be fired, right? So that is the way we can change. Again, how are beliefs formed? Beliefs are formed because of the conditioning effect that happens, maybe since childhood, through the various influences that we have in our life, like our family, our upbringing, our school, academics, the environment all around us, the religion that we are born to, the cultural influences, the social, lot of influences. So like we all have, that, okay, in this religion, this is not allowed and that is not allowed. And, all the instructions that we get in our life, they form a map in our minds, in our brains. And we see everything through those maps. We don't go beyond them. So those are the conditioning. So if you must be aware of that, there's something called as an elephant rope mindset. Okay. When, how circus elephants are trained, they are tied when the mother elephant is performing in the circus. The baby elephant is tied up with a small pole of wood with chains. So whenever no, they tried hard with chains, metal chains. So each time they want to leave the let go themselves of the chains and go to their mother elephants, they cannot because they are tied up. So the baby elephant keeps growing with that mindset that every time I try, I'm not able to leave and go. So it grows up with the belief that I cannot now go ahead. I cannot leave the chains. I cannot break those chains. So as the baby elephant turns into an adult elephant, even tying them with a small log of wood with just a jute rope, okay, will suffice. And because they have already grown up with the belief that I cannot break this. So even a jute rope, which otherwise it can just walk and it will break, but now they have that belief in the mind. So even the jute rope they are unable to break. Okay, so that is the power of how strong a belief can be. Beliefs can either make you or break you. It can give you endless hope or it can give you a hopeless end. So you have to be very sure which category you want to fall in. Okay, and so it's like how we are so used to going from work to our house, right? Now if there is a diversion, a permanent diversion that which the road makers have created suddenly, our brains will not get used to it. Every time we'll go there, oh god, the road is closed, and then we take a diversion. Correct. So now that every day we are doing this, we are coming there and oh, the road is diverted. After a few turns, we will get used to and tuned to the new diversion as well. Until then, we are not used to that diversion. So that is the way how we can change the conditioning of our brain, and we can get over our beliefs. Like how the elephant, when it is stuck with a jute rope, also it cannot. So something which is stopping you. This happens with us in our lives as well. Something which is stopping us from going ahead. Although we have done it in the past, we have gone over it. We have come over a lot of challenges, but we don't believe in ourselves. So once we change these beliefs, we get over our limiting beliefs. Okay, we can reprogram our minds and go ahead. And regarding self-confidence, you can ask yourself in the tough times, in the most challenging times of your life. I'm sure all of us have some or the other time where it would have been very taxing, very, very challenging. And we have all come through it in some or the other manner. So ask yourself, what were your strengths which helped you get over those times, that tough times, and you have come through it? Ask yourself so that you can get over it. Those are the strengths. So I'm an NLP master practitioner, that is neuro-linguistic programming. So in that we believe that each person has all the resources within. Okay, like you have all the strength within, you only have to realize your own strength and get over them. We also do a lot of modeling. Okay, in NLP we can like have somebody as a role model and try. So if one person can do it, anybody can do it. This is the presupposition that we have in NLP, which is so true, that if one can do it, definitely you can also do it. So why not model that kind of behavior and go ahead? That is another way of gaining self-confidence, right?
All right, ma'am. Again, you made so many good points, and the one which I like most is that how you told the story of baby elephant, how he grew up with the belief that he could not move from that tied rope. So, ma'am, in same context, I would like to put it here. My next question, which is, ma'am, does the key of success lies in believing you can achieve?
Yes, definitely. I just mentioned, if one can do it, anybody can do it, for sure. So if your mind can conceive it and believe it, then you can definitely achieve it. That is what Napoleon Hill rightly said, and I so believe it.
All right, ma'am. One question which I would like to put it also, which is something related to belief, not exactly, which is, ma'am, success versus happiness. What is more important?
Well, success is not a key to happiness, I would say. Whereas if you love what you do, okay, if you really love what you're doing, you will definitely lead to success. And on the other hand, if you're very successful and you're not happy, then what's the point? So success is when you are living a life full with a drive, with some drive to reach somewhere. Whereas happiness is something that you are living out of passion. So in success, you may probably earn a lot of money in life. You probably reach on the top of your field in life. Whereas in happiness, you gain a lot of love, a lot of respect, okay, and you are purpose driven. Okay, here you want to reach on the top of in your field, and here you want to fulfill your purpose, your higher purpose of your existence. That is what is going to give you a lot of happiness. And so success will cause you maybe remaining awake in the night. We have to accomplish this and that. It will get you restless. And if you're happy, you get a lovely, peaceful, sound sleep.
All right, ma'am. So one question which again I would like to put it here, ma'am. Does both the terms success and happiness, it is somehow related, or it is totally independent?
I'm sorry, I didn't get your question.
Ma'am, success and happiness both are the independent term, or both are somehow related?
Oh, no, they are related. If you are happy, you will reach success faster. As I said, if you love what you're doing, if you're happy doing what you are doing, then you will definitely reach success to your successful stage faster in life. So it's not like totally independent. At the same time, success and happiness. So a successful person need not be happy. Okay. So it depends on what is more important for the person. If you ask me, for me, my happiness is very important. I live a purpose-driven life.
All right, ma'am. One question again, which is somehow related to belief only, ma'am. How positive thinking builds skill, boosts health, and improves work?
Oh yes, definitely. So positive feelings, positive thinking. All this releases a lot of good hormones. So some hormones which give you that feel good factor. Okay, when you're very happy, you have this feel good factor within. So they are serotonin and dopamine. Okay, which are released when you have all these positive thoughts and positive thinking, positive feeling in the mind. And when these hormones are released, these hormones are helping you to think more creatively. Okay, you have more control over your mind, you are more motivated, you are able to process everything in your life, in your mind much better. Okay, your mental focus is the maximum. All right, you are able to see and absorb all concepts very, very well. Okay, how you can do it? No, that is very important. So you can continue with this positivity by having meaningful engagements, like something which is getting very toxic to you. Just be away from negative people, from topics which cause or create a lot of negativity. Just move or get yourself out of those environments and those engagements. All right. Second, being mindful, being in the present, enjoying that moment with all your senses is something which will really trigger a lot of good hormones and good health within you. Okay, then you should have a lot of so I also believe you become an average of the 5 people that you mingle with. So make sure those 5 people that you mingle with are out of your choice and they are highly positive and absolutely as per your choice, as per your liking. They are also of the same thought process. They are not somebody who are negative and create mess in your life, right? So make sure that the 5 people whom you select are really good and positive. they will influence your life also a lot. And last but not the least, I think academics get you a job, but soft skills get you success. So develop your soft skills. Developing your soft skills would add a lot of value in your life. You will gain a lot of love, respect from wherever you go. You'll be able to create that powerful presence wherever you go, that aura, okay? And it will also help you become a better person, a much more emotionally intelligent person who is really high on EQ, that is the emotional quotient. So it becomes a very value addition in your own life, and you'll be able to add a lot of value in others' lives as well. Okay?
Again, ma'am, it was really a wonderful answer, and also it is really we can learn many things from it. So, ma'am, I don't want to waste your much time. Moving to my last question, ma'am, being a life coach, what advice would you like to give in this hard time, Corona time? Because of course this time is not according to anyone, and all are surviving in this. So, what advice would you like to give it?
So I always believe in. So if you know, I'll tell you. So Sachin Tendulkar, when he was playing, when he used to play cricket, you know, he was asked in an interview once, "There's so much of noise in the stadium. Don't you get disturbed?" So you know what was his answer? He says, "Sir, I take one ball at a time." It is very clear. So I would also say, take life as it comes, each day at a time, so that we live each day fully. Be good, live a good life, think about others, be more full of empathy, be a good listener to people, so that you're able to deal with your own self and deal with others much, much better. And in this pandemic, so this is now become a way of life. This is no surprise anymore, right? Initially, when it just came, maybe earlier during the year, it was more like a surprise and a shock to people. But now it has become the new norm. It has become a way of life. So just live it, take care, take your own precautions, take care of yourself, your family, your loved ones, people, your colleagues, everyone. And I think just accept it. There is no other choice.
All right, ma'am, it was really a wonderful session with you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining and giving your important time. It was really a great session, and we look forward to conduct more sessions with you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining.
Sure. Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine too. Thank you, Harsh, for having me.